Run for it now. Run for it. Oh God, can you imagine?
Good evening from Millbrae in Ayrshire. It's the Ayrshire Bulls against Watsonians Rugby, live from Millbrae and the FOSROC Super Series as we have reached the business end. It's a winner-take-all effectively between these two teams. Two old rivals going head-to-head once more. They both had a good campaign so far, and a win would see them through into the FOSROC Super Series Sprint finale next week. Let's have a look at the teams who will be joining us. And there is the Ayrshire Bull. Only one change in the starting lineup from the side that drew with Heriots here last week. Bobby Beattie coming into the centre, Jamie Shedden moving on to the win in place of Thomas Glendenning, who's unavailable this weekend. Good news for the Bulls. William Farquhar, Archie Smeaton have recovered from injury, come onto the bench with Brad Roderick Evans looking to make his Bulls debut tonight. So Watsonians had a cracking encounter last week at Meggetland with the Boroughmuir Bears. A late Jason Baggett penalty got the lead up to 32-22, and it was needed because the late Lee Cullen try and conversion brought it back to just a 3-point game. Campbell Wilson comes in for Carl May, and Carl worked hard to try and get back to fitness after his hamstring injury. Made a big impact last week, but unfortunately picked up a knee injury against the Bears. There's a change at 9. Murray Scott coming in, Murdo McAndrew standing down with a concussion. And in the backs on the wing, Ben Riley starts for Ross McKnight. Well, that's a beautiful setting for a game of rugby. We're stone's throw away from the Burns cottage. We'll be hoping for plenty of poetry in motion tonight. The table, well, there's not a lot to choose between. Ayrshire Bulls and Watsonians, exactly same records in terms of win, draw and loss. They've both drawn against Heriots, 18 points each. Stirling Wolves and Heriots, well, they play tomorrow, and that could be a winner-take-all as well. There's so many scenarios, especially if they decide to draw here tonight, and we'll talk you through all of them as the match goes on. I'll be watching it in the company of former Scotland and Glasgow Warriors Lee Jones. And Lee, we were treated to a great encounter last week. Watsonians were made to work very hard against the Boroughmuir Bears, especially at the end. They're going to have to step it up just that little bit more to face what is a very good Ayrshire side, especially at home.
Yeah, I think so. Boroughmuir managed to find a few holes in the Watsonians' defence last week, and you know, when they go up against Ayr, this fixture has got a bit of history in this short tournament across the Super Series, and it's a repeat of last year's championship final. It's always relatively close, and as you said, in terms of points going into this last game, there's a few different permutations. We hope they make it easy for us, but it looks most likely that whoever wins this match tonight will take home advantage in the final next week. But also for the team that loses, they potentially miss out on a place in the final if we go with the probability. So it sets it up to be a great match tonight, and it will be really competitive.
Yeah, even if you're behind tonight, you're going to try and get that try bonus. You're going to try and get the losing bonus point, which will give you a chance, but we'll talk you through all of that as we go along. 34 games between them this season. Between them, they've won 27, drawn 2, and lost only 5. So we're looking at 2 of the top teams. Of course, they were the championship finalists for the championship at the Damhill Stadium, and even then it took extra time to separate them on that occasion. So when you know the other team fairly well, the coaching staff just looking for the little things, just to give little bits of information that might make the difference.
Yeah, definitely, and they'll look back to the season just gone, and like you say, that final, you know, what a match that was. They'll you know, they have a good idea of each other, but also they'll be running over footage of this season. There's a few new players in, there's a few injuries in either team, so squads change, but I think the general manner in which they're playing the game is very similar. I think Ayrshire, looking at the Watsonians Boroughmuir game last week, as we mentioned, will be looking at the way in which Boroughmuir managed to pick a few holes, maybe down that short side on counter-attack, you know, and earn a few scores themselves. So the Bulls will definitely be looking at that, and Watsonians also analysing, you know, what went in a couple of weeks before.
Carl Davis leading out Watsonians. The Ayrshire Bulls also announced, and it's a familiar figure, Blair McPherson, rumbling his way onto the pitch, leading out the men in white this evening, ready to do battle Both teams will go into huddle. The final few words to be said. Final few moments of inspiration being sought. Our referee this evening, it's his third appearance in the sprint this season for Johnny Perriam. He gets the chance to take charge of what will be a really important fixture. He'll be supported by Michael Todd and Alistair Watts. Will be the opportunity for Watsonians to get us underway. Jason Baggett at 10. Watsonians in the dark jerseys, Ayrshire Bulls all in white. And we're underway here at Millbrae. Good take, nice and safe. Really, that's just confidence boosting. You get a good take, you pop it near the 10-metre line, and that's good work from Ayrshire Bulls.
Yeah, Grant Baird, I think on that occasion he had plenty of time under that kick-off. It probably went a bit too long from Watsonians' point of view, but yeah, you know, can't exit, but it gives Watsonians a set piece early in this game.
Cal Davis gets it in, coming around the back. Campbell Wilson moving his way forward. Referee right up with play. That comes out through Murray Scott. Adam McAndrew took a head knock last week. Trying to come through there was Calvin Henderson. Scott King in the midfield. Again, it's with Scott. Pulls it out onto Baggett. The advantage is called over. Guthrie has it out wide. He's nearly intercepted. So many bodies in so quickly. Jamie Shedden. And out of the touch. It goes. That's the margins, Lee, when you're on the wing in the centre and trying to move through. That ball could sometimes just get nicked away.
Yeah, small margins. I think you can already see the intent off the line from the Ayrshire Bulls in defence. You know, really getting set early and flying up there, which is putting passes under pressure. And, Bobby Beattie there, back into the squad this week, was very close to picking that one off.
It comes Ed Bloodworth. Usually does a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the line out. To the back it goes. Grant Stewart trying to get that ball. Watsonians come up. They'll have to depart there as Rory Jackson gets it away. Into the midfield it goes. Blair McPherson. There was a knock on there. The advantage will come the way of Watsonians. Well, that's high on Bobby Bratton. And the penalty will come. It's fairly clear from here. The tackle came in, you could see it above the shoulders, just wrapping around. There was no particular danger, but it certainly was a penalty.
Yeah, I think George Pringle seems to have injured himself there just as he went into the tackle, and it doesn't look good.
There's a new signing for Watsonians in the All-Ireland League, and they are going to put time off. There is going to be an immediate change. Lewis Berg is a good player to have coming off the bench. And George Pringle, well, he's done well, he has impressed. Just, you know, this is his fourth match. He's got one try, that against the Wolves, and he's down. Lewis Berg is expecting to come on. It's not great when you've trained, you've prepared, and all of a sudden after 2.5 minutes, just got to hope it's one of these injuries, Lee, where the initial shock and pain is actually worse than what it turns out to be.
Yeah, definitely, and it definitely looks a sore one. So fingers crossed that it does go that way, Paul. George Pringle had a great match last week against Boroughmuir. He had some lovely touches, offloads, and played well into contact. They brought other players into the game, so you know, he's been really impressive over the last 2 weeks. But we've got Lewis Berg coming off the bench, who's a seasoned campaigner with Watsonians. He was a real standout last season and in the championship last year as well. So you know, he'll be raring to go back from injury as well, and you can see him ready to come on, and he'll be looking to have a big impact on the game. Probably a wee bit earlier than he thought, but on he comes.
Well, there is George Pringle. It's unfortunate, he just seemed to catch the ball between his legs and then just get taken down. Applying some more of the magic spray to see if he's going to be able to stay on. It's never easy at this earlier stage in a game. You're ready, you're wound up, you're going, and all of a sudden it's almost like a restart.
Yeah, you can tell the body language of the players. Look, they're full of energy. They just want to, like you say, you start the game and you want to pour everything into it, especially those first. And both teams probably talked about coming out and really, laying down a marker in the first 10 minutes. And so when you get a stoppage like this, it does knock things off slightly. So it'll be important to see when it restarts. If both teams can manage to keep their composure. George Pringle, it's good to see that he's up. It's amazing as well what a bit of adrenaline can do.
Yeah, just watch the foot, it just buckled in behind him. You could see immediately he was in a bit of pain. But they're holding on. As Berg continues to stretch, he's going to put back the yellow vest. So he's going to stay on the field of play, George Pringle. Jason Baggett will kick for the 22. Effortless from Jason Baggett. Some defending work to do now for Ayrshire. It's well taken. Back to Davis. Well, this is what they're so good at, Watsonians. They've got that drive on. It'll come off to the scrum half. Murray Scott will get it out wide. And that is a terrific opening score. Ben Riley touches down. Well, all your focus is on Carl Davis and trying to stop him, but Murray Scott took the ball off him, flung it wide onto Ben Riley, and the opening score of the match goes the way of the visitors.
Oh, look, the history Carl Davis has got at the back of that maul, and we seen him last week, Paul. All eyes would have been on him, and I think Ayr just neglected that short side a wee bit. You can see Grant Stewart, he's looking for someone on that short side, and as that maul drives in field, it just opens up that gap, and it ends up Murray Scott, lovely 2-on-1 down the short side to put young Ben Riley away, but that gap just got far too big, and Grant Stewart, there was nothing he can do. He was calling for help, but the rate at which that maul came in field, it just meant that it opened up too much space.
I think Murray Scott will be getting a letter from the Scrum Halves Association for not going over himself there. Supposed to be selfish scrum halves.
Yeah, I think he could have got there as well.
Yeah. It's always more important that the team score rather than you. The pass away, and Jason Baggett looks to try and add. Well, it's a kick that he makes on a regular basis. You wouldn't have expected him to miss. Excellent start for the Edinburgh side. We've got a good record on this ground. And of course, throws all sorts of problems in the past. Ben Riley with the try. That's his second Super 6. That went backwards. Back there. On the inside. Well, the shout was no, no, no. As that was picked up. And the referee was having none of it. Breaking through the offside line. There's a guy you know well, Fraser Clement. You've played against him.
Yeah, I think we're going back a wee while now, and it's impressive to see him still playing at this level. But yeah, back in my Celtic days, coming up the road to Millbrae against Fraser Clement when he first came across from New Zealand, and then a coach with Ayrshire, but he's now stepped back onto the field, and by all accounts in the last few weeks he's played really well. He scored a great try against Herrick's on this very field.
Got good experience in New Zealand. 4 out. The referee couldn't have been more clear with his ball. Now that comes through. Colby Beattie, there's a lovely on the inside. Kerry Ewell will go through. Well, what a dramatic start we've had to this game. 2 young try scorers, 2 young fine prospects, and Kerry Ewell barrels his way through for the Ayrshire Bulls opening try.
Yeah, this is living up to the billing so far, isn't it? And we just talked about him, Fraser Clement. The hands, he just squares up. Kerry Ewell's always coming on that line, You know, last weekend he's running those straight hard lines as an up and down centre. 17 years old, can you believe it? And the 36-year-old onto the 17-year-old for the score. He's a young guy, he's got a promising future ahead of him, but he's playing outside in the middle of two guys tonight in Robert Beattie and Fraser Climo, who will help him massively in terms of experience. But he hits a great line up pace and he goes in untouched, so it's a good start tonight for Kerry Ewell.
The conversion routine for Elias Cavan. They're tied at 7 after 7. 7-7-7. I think we have hit the jackpot for this game. That's really well taken. Look at Bardelli, tall, imposing winger. Back on the inside. There's the opportunity again. BT trying to make things happen. McPherson on the carry. Seb Cecil at 6 in the opening try last week. Coming round to guard the blind side on that occasion. Way back rank there. Come on. Sends it out wide. Now here's the opportunity. BD will lift that up. There's the bounce. It's an awkward one. And there's no way through for 14. Into Bardelli. That will be seen as a slightly wasted possession.
Yeah, I think so. You could see what they were trying to do, and there was space on the edge there, and it probably called for just going straight through the hands there. It's sometimes tempting to throw that miss pass. It's almost easier to pick off defenders just by nice short passes, and there was enough numbers there from an Ayrshire Bulls point of view, so it gives over possession back to
overthrown. Grant Stewart will get Neil Van Hess, who's at the back trying to get there. Good work again by Ryan Sweeney. That's onto Rory Jackson. That's been dropped, but I think they'll come back for the first offence. There's a good rip, but then forward, so it's the Bulls who will get the put in. There's Rory Jackson, who's down. Berg on the tackle. He just got jabbed into the ground almost.
It's a firm surface tonight as well, so there's not much give in the way of, you know, twisting ankles and knees. Albeit it makes for a great game of rugby. It's it's disappointing to see a couple of guys picking up injuries so far. You can see around the breakdown, both teams just so intense and willing to apply pressure that there's real pressure on nines, and if that ball's not secure, we've got bobbling balls, and that's testament to both defences are just keen to apply pressure. So from an attacking point of view, both teams will be aware that they need to, be secure over ball and move ball away efficiently if they want to play in the right areas.
Well, we expected it to be attritional. I'm sure we expected to potentially lose 2 players in the opening 10 minutes. Archie Speeton gets himself ready to get warmed up. Okay, very stop-start nature to the game. And one thing for the FOSROC Super Series sprint, we've now gone over 1,000 points. For the sprint, we're on 997 coming into tonight. Ben Riley taking up the 1,002. Archie Speeton does indeed join the fray. There's one thing we've not been missing in this FOSROC Super Series sprint have been tries. I mean, it's been tremendous in terms of the number of tries they've been getting, averaging over 8 per game. We're now on 149 for the sprint series so far, this game number 19. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's testament to when this rugby's been played as well, with our sprint series in the springtime when the weather's obviously a wee bit better. And then they play the championship season before the weather really turns here in the winter, and that just makes for, it has so far made for great games of rugby. Like you say, Paul, in terms of tries and in terms of the way you know, the teams are trying to play the game as well. So it's great for this level of rugby in Scotland.
Front rows of Andrew Nimmo, Grant Stewart, Calvin Henderson, Harrison Courtney, Callum Davis, and Lee Bratton. Grant Baird at 9. McPherson will sometimes take, and he's going to leave this for Grant Baird. Nimmo on the attack. That's the kick away. It's just too heavy though. And there's a bit of a fight has erupted as well on the field. Grant Stewart is in there, Andrew Nimmo is in there, Cal Davis, and he's trying to hold back Bobby Bratton. Well, I'll tell you what, Andrew Nimmo looks furious out of that. Well, it's the old story, it's what does the touch judge see, because the referee's watching the play. They continue. Well, that was a head being thrown. I think there's going to be Bobby Bratton will go. Well, there's absolutely no mitigation for that. He threw his head forward at Andrew Nimmo. The red card comes out. Absolutely no doubt about that. I think the referee was going to let the fracas go. The Watsonians are down to 14 and without their chances, maybe walking off alongside Bobby Bratton. Oh, just a moment of madness.
Yeah, tempers are flared there. I'm not sure what started it off. But yeah, he'll know. It's a red card. It's definitely going to change the complex of this game. And it's going to be a tough old shift from the Watsonians boys, you know, for the 70 minutes remaining, for a moment of madness.
It's just the second red card of the sprint. It's the first for Watsonians. As that is kept him on the far side. Jason Baggett has it. Baggett sends it long. Taken by McPherson. Cavan sets himself up. Cavan sets it there. Fullback comes. It's a good take by Jack Brown. Harry Scott. There's the little dummy very quickly up again. We do have that man advantage. Baggett. Melvin Hess. Comes to Baggett again. Tries that lovely little rubber kick along. Just to come back to the red card, I mean, Fraser Climo had knocked the kick long. It was going to be, you know, the advantage obviously coming back for the line out for Watsonians, but whatever kicked off, well, the red missed, the fury came down for Bobby Bratton.
Yeah, and I think it was almost the afters of what initially kicked off. You know, it was what was left, and by that time the referee's over there with eyes on everything. So, you know, in terms of that, it was, and the timing of it, it probably wasn't what initially started it, but it's ended in the red card.
Cal Davis tries to get past Climo. Nicely done through Murray Scott. Bobby Beattie was up very quickly there. Baggett will play it through. Berg is going to chase. Coming across there. Good Bardelli. Bardelli tries to get the kick away. That was ill-advised. That could go anywhere. It's going to be picked up well by Campbell Wilson. Now it comes on to Davis. Davis throws the dummy and goes over. That's an outrageous score from Cal Davis. Look at Bardelli and Jamie Shedden. None too clever at the back. Little bit of inexperience there. Great play from Campbell Wilson, and it's finished by Cal Davis.
Yeah, a great finish by Cal Davis in the end, but I think this score is built by Jason Baggett, and it goes back to him keeping the ball in field. We're talking phases back, and then he's put in a couple of really intelligent kicks there, just applying pressure, and I think Jamie Shedden charged down kick when he's trying to get that away, and Watsonians capitalise against the run of play after the red card as well.
Just confirmation the two wingers have swapped jerseys against the official lines. And Jason Baggett sends that through.
To be fair, there's a bit of size difference between those two wingers. So.
You know what, I was looking at my notes saying, look at Bartelli, he's supposed to be 5'9". It's the biggest 5'9" I've ever seen. And then I was checking the other side, I'm thinking, no, Jamie's 6'6". Well, they're down to 14, but they do have the lead. This is going to take all of Jason Baggett's experience, Lee, to make sure that he can guide Watsonians through it and not leave any, you know, silly balls. He's got to get those clearance kicks away as often as he possibly can.
Yeah, it just magnifies every little thing that Watsonians do now has to be on the money. Otherwise, it's going to be easy for Bulls to capitalise them being one man short.
Now they're trying to get things moving. They do so. Kevin Beattie, out it comes. Now it's picked up well by Jamie Shedden. Shedden's still going. Shedden back on the inside onto Beattie. And just like before when Watsonians score, the Ayrshire Bulls have an immediate reply. 4 tries already. Barely 15 minutes gone. What a contest between the Bulls and Watsonians.
That's a brilliant score by the Bulls. Yes, there was a bit of space on the edge, but it required a fair bit of work from a few players to put that one away. And firstly, Kerr Ewell just rides this tackle before he gets the offload away. He manages to square up, takes the tackle, gets off, and then Jamie Shedden just defend again. He's so powerful. And then Bobby Beattie runs the inside support line, casual as you like, and he gets that one down for a good score.
No tries in his last 8 matches. He's changed that tonight. 29-year-old Elias Kevin will be set for the conversion, but it's terrific play from Bobby Beattie. And we're tied up at 14. Well, I think you picked it up and highlighted it there. The work of Kerr Ewell just to ride out and give the pass. Jimmy Shedden, 6'6". He's a bit of a monster. Great balance and got the pass onside onto Beattie.
Yeah, the aggressive defence from Watsonians means that you have to be, you know, really cool under pressure there. And Kerr Ewell didn't have a big window to do something, but he managed to ride that tackle and get the offload, which created the space for Jamie Shedden on that edge.
Taken by Watsonians. Little flick pass by Grant Baird. Attacking for the kick was Jack Brown. There was the knock on, driving through Calvin Henderson. That's nicely away by Grant Baird. Smeaton again. Bobby Beattie sends it long. It's a long chase for the fullback. Jack Brown did well. Jack Brown on the counter. He's got a bit of pace, bit of confidence as well. Out it goes from Murray Scott. Van Hess.
Stay on. Use it now.
Nicely away by Murray Scott. It's a great take and it's away quickly. High in there, Irvin Hess looks. It wasn't an easy one for Baggett to take, especially with Shedden going right down after him. And out of play it goes. Well, there was a knock on as well, so the referee wanting the option. He's going to take the scrum. And of course, Lee, the problem is they're going to have to withdraw someone to get a prop on here. Mike Wilson will have to come on, and I think they'll give Campbell Wilson a little rest here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The back row always is the one that has to come off generally when you've had a red card, and Mac Wilson's been ready to go since Bobby Bratton came off, so he's been primed and ready, knowing that at the next scrum he'd be coming back onto the field.
Referee just telling both sets of players initial scrums have been fine.
Bind. Set.
That looked fairly clean in terms of getting the strike to the back, but the little twist and turn. Ayrshire weren't in a hurry there to try and get the ball out. So the confirmation of the Wilson change. Back for Campbell. Grant Baird getting ready to put in third consecutive start. Former Mar man.
Bind. Set.
Scrum looks pretty steady.
Use it.
The call of use it. Grant Baird. Just got caught there by Scott. The counter ruck looked pretty good. Berg has to get out of there. Blair McPherson, Berg trying to push him back. Bloodworth trying to rip the ball off his skipper. Ball bouncing around now, it'll come out wide. On to Ryan Sweeney. 7 is Lewis McNamara. Pubes off in front. Clemmel. Cavan. Cavan decides on the kick. It's well dealt with, but again, Ewell is up so quickly. And Guthrie. There's the short pass just dropping down there. It's ball.
Use it. Stay fully bound, fellas, fully bound.
Ronnie Scott again. There's the box kick. Fair bit of height. Clemmel is underneath it. Fairly hectic passage of play, Lee Jones.
These teams are just flying into each other. Seb Cecil there saving his team because there was a few Ayrshire Bulls numbers on this far side and Watsonians down on defence, but he's made a great read there, and you see him often getting off the line in that midfield, but he's done really well there. Ayrshire Bulls going down that far side, a nice bit of play. Bobby Beattie squares up and pulls it out the back, and then Eli Cavan, just in the phase previous, he's put his boot to ball, taking it right to the line, and then again he puts boot to ball, and it makes it difficult for that Watsonians backfield to deal with, and keeps the Bulls on top.
Now here comes Grant Stewart. Makes no mistake with that. Goes into the back to gather. The maul called. Stewart moving on the inside. Trying to break through. All is still going. He's still there. Textbook for the Ayrshire Bulls, who take the lead in the match for the first time. And Grant Stewart with his 6th try in 6 matches for the Ayrshire Bulls. And there was no stopping them there.
Yeah, well executed, Ayrshire Bulls. It's another week, it's another driving maul score, and Grant Stewart the beneficiary this time. They get it going early, don't they? And Grant Stewart's been there on numerous occasions. 48 caps for the Warriors. He's a tidy player, and that's bread and butter for for a guy like that. He likes his X-Factor stuff. You'll see him across the field with his footwork, but he does the basics really well, and he gets a score for his efforts there.
Five tries in the opening 22 minutes. If you're just joining us, Watsonians have had Bobby Bratton red carded. It was a head movement towards Andrew Nibble. There's no way the referee was missing it. And like Evan pops that through as well. So much at stake in this game. It's almost a winner takes all. It's virtually a semi-final for the right to host the Super Series Sprint final match. One will play two next week. That's quite a bad knock on, but the penalty will come.
I couldn't have shouted it more. 1-2. I couldn't have shouted it more. Move.
Well, Johnny Ferrier basically saying he'd called to say that you were in the wrong place, you hadn't come back, had to move out. And, well, the forwards ignored him.
Yeah, you have to work hard to at least, in the referee's eyes, be looking like you're trying to get back on side. And if there's, as the referee said, there was no effort, so the penalty stands. And you know, that was a good attacking opportunity for Watsonians. Ayrshire Bulls have cleared, but they've kept it in field. It's a good up and under back by Jason Baggett, and they've won it back. But yeah, not working hard to get back on side, and it gives over possession back to the Bulls.
So Grant Stewart to the front on that occasion. There's the ball. Grant Stewart trying to make the hard yards here. And it comes on to Baird. Baird through Beattie. Climo is there. There's a little offload onto Yule. He is grease lightning. He's got a man to beat. Gets a little pass on the inside. It's Blair McPherson who's taken down. Cal Davis had come through. Penalty advantage will come the way of the home side. Climo thought about the high pass. It's hard to stop, you know. Andrew Nimmo now driving his way forward. Remember, they do have a man advantage. It's an offside again. Ryan Sweeney tried to pick up there. Grant Stewart looking for it at the base. McNamara. Climo. That should be an easy score. And the man wearing the number 14 jersey tonight, Jamie Shedden, goes through. And already, even just with 25 minutes gone, the fact they extend the lead against 14, this may be on Watsonians.
Ayrshire Bulls have made that score look easy, but there's so many subtle pieces of skill just in the lead up. The first one off the Maul breakaway, and Bobby Beattie takes it right to the line, pulls it back to Fraser Climo, and they make inroads through Kerr Yule, and then they just keep some continuity, and in the end it's a numbers game, but it's a great floated pass from Fraser Climo as well. And Jamie Shedden, I doubt he'll have an easier run in than that one.
Cavan with the kick. Well, if the players and coaching staff at Stirling, Wolves and Heriots were hoping for a low-scoring encounter with no try bonus, well, that ain't happening. Cavan. It's the first miss of the evening. A 12-point gap lead, but with 14 players, you're a long way away.
Yeah, you kind of feel that, you know, this next the next wee period of this match, Watsonians, if they're to stay in with a chance, are going to have to wrestle something back. They did well with the Cal Davis try straight after that red card, but they've got to do something here to keep themselves in the game.
Touch back onto Scott King.
No knock on.
Nicely done by Murray Scott. No knock on, said the referee. Scott in there again, onto Davis. Davis had Courtney on his shoulder. Comes it back onto Scott again. Baggett, Berg, trying to find a gap. Smeaton in on the tackle. Scott there once more. Naylor Van Hess bulldoze his way through. Scott again on the inside through Cecil. 18 is Mac Wilson. That's been juggled away, and the Bulls have it.
Advantage over.
Advantage over, it's been kicked away. It's a long chase back for Jack Brown. He's going to get some help. It's lovely play from Angus Guthrie.
No hands now, missed it.
Back again by Scott.
No hands, no hands. Use it.
Only Climo is back to this left-hand side if they think about the crossfield kick. And they'll send it down that far side. Climo is there, but you can see how quickly the Bulls get into the line. Shedden gets it away. BT up on the shoulder. We're playing scrum half there. And McNamara bursting his way through. That's a lovely interchange again. Climo gets the pass away. Beattie gets the dump offload. Davis. It wasn't an easy tackle, but he got his man down. Climo again, that's intercepted. And he could go all the way here, just as he had the legs. Jason Baggett trying to get away from Cavan. He's being chased into the corner. He has just got enough. Well, Jason Baggett managed to get his way to the line. He had a long way to go. He was being pursued. And it's Watsonians' turn to notch on the scoreboard again. The try scorer, Jason Baggett.
That's an outstanding finish, Jason Baggett, to go. Oh, we're looking at least 50 yards there against the run of play as well. You just felt that Ayrshire were getting their tails up and staying high in defence. Jason Baggett manages to pick it off, and he does well here with Eli Cavan, probably the quicker man chasing him back, but he does just enough to step off his right and get further towards the corner to get it down.
Yeah, I mean, Elias Cavan, he's got plenty of pace, and he knew that he had to change the angle. It's precisely what he did. Also bearing down on was Jimmy Shedden as well. That's a great score from Watsonians. They needed the next score.
Yeah, it's intelligent play, Jason Baggett in there. You mentioned it earlier in commentary, Paul. They're going to need him, his experience, just to control the game, to do the right thing at the right time. And there, as I say, Bulls looked like they were getting their tails up. You know, there was a couple of passes, they were making inroads, there was offloads, they were really starting to push those offloads and create space. But that goes right against the run of play and keeps Watsonians in the hunt.
Watsonians, the top point scorers in the sprint series. And add to them there. The Ayrshire Bulls conceded the fewest points of any of the sides. But there was the interception. So much work still to do.
Both defences playing high in defence means that, mentioned it before, but the missed passes are always going to be tight in terms of interception, so you want to be looking at running square, and short passes is probably the way you want to go.
The average FOSROC Super Series match on the sprint level is averaged just over 8 tries. We look like 31 minutes. We're already of 7. Them over the tape, knocked down by Guthrie. Ferson. What's needed here, Lee, is that Watsonians actually need to keep the Bulls inside their own half for a bit, because they've conceded a try every time after they've scored. Cavan plays it through. Baggett. Nice spin to get away from Shedden. Trying to set up the ball. Ball, Beresford. Berg and King just settling themselves into the line. Naylor Van Hessen between them.
Back.
Oh, that wasn't ideal. It was a little guddle there by Murray Scott. It was backwards. But the kick straight out of play.
Yeah, the Bulls are really applying pressure through their counter-attack game, and they're being patient with it as well. They're not necessarily looking to pin them back on the first, phase of counter. It's sometimes kicking to then get a ball back, to then have more space to kick. And we've seen that Eli Caven a couple of times put boot to ball, and and then the defence rushes through, and there, Watsonians are just getting pinned further and further back, and pressure then on the box kick, and now they're stuck on their 22. So it's smart play there by the Bulls. They can shift the ball to width, but then when you've got Caven there with that kicking game, if that option then closes up, they can put it along the floor, and it applies pressure in a different way.
The bandage going over the boot, it means just one thing: you're going to have a sore foot tomorrow. So once that gets taken off, the tough stuff is Lewis Ball, 23-year-old Englishman, made his debut in the 21-22 season, 34th appearance for Watsonians at this level.
Time on.
Two strong squads, blessed with experience and also that sprinkling of youth. Okay, nicely taken, and coming off the back is Ryan Sweeney. Sweeney gets it across through the hands of Ewell. Baird, and again Ryan Sweeney attacking.
No, don't milk it, don't milk it.
Don't milk it, says the referee. Nevada was trying to apply just that little lodge.
Leave it, 8. Thank you.
Stewart.
Ball's there, the ball's
Down
there,
by
thank you.
Wilson. Clemo. Well, there was nothing but Navy in front of him, but he sidestepped his way across. Smeaton met really well. Miller Van Hess on the hunt. McPherson, Beattie. There's another block, but it was one. Well, it was a good take by Jamie Shedden. And the ball was not forward, but it was important he took it, because again we could have seen the breakaway.
Yeah, it's coming back to that defence being high and playing hard off the line from Watsonians, and that's what they're going to have to do, especially being a man down. There's going to be space generally somewhere. Once Bulls have been through the phases, there'll be space somewhere in that back line, whether it be on the edge. So that probably means that Watsonians generally come off the line pretty hard anyway, but they're going to have to put that needle more towards the edge of coming harder off the line.
Not been too many scrums in this one. Bobby Pratt, the Watsonians prop, red carded very early on in the game, 10 minutes gone. Sides were level, 7 apiece at the time. So now the Bulls will lead by 7.
They've got back up, they've fought up.
And it goes by Scott. Scott onto Baggett. Baggett looks up. Goes the long kick. Caven has a little word with Shedden, who wants it. Caven goes back, takes it. There's the long kick. That is going to turn Jason Baggett round. Baggett under control. It's kept in. Clemo on the 10.
Yes now.
Trying to accelerate. Jack Baird. Jack Brown calls for it. Just got clipped.
You've checked him.
And the penalty is given.
No, you've checked him. You can move out the way, you have checked him.
It's potentially a wee bit unfortunate there, Fraser Clemo. He realised that he was in a position and he had to let the man down safely, and you can see
Once they've run 5, you're okay.
there's a check, but you can see he's trying not to engage there. It's a well-timed up and under, and good take by Jack Brown, who earns his side a penalty.
Jason Baggett goes for the long kick down the line. Doesn't find touch. Well, I thought there might have been an element of safety first there, and he decided against it. Cavan. Baggett, just with the fingertips there. Tries the kick. That is a decent one. Takes the bounce, but it takes an Ayrshire Bulls bounce. And Clemo hurls it. That one's going to stay in as well. Jack Brown takes it. Brown. Irvin Hess. It's a great little pass over the top to King. King's got plenty of pace, still going to the 22. Irvin Hess again. The ball will present itself to Murray Scott on the inside. Jamie Beresford wears 5, trying to help. Ping back up to Scott. Baggett gets it off to Ball. Now there's the clip kick. That wasn't a particularly good kick, but I think advantage was with them. The Bardelli had popped out to this left side, but they did have the penalty advantage. Now you're looking at the clock here as well, Lee. 3 minutes to half time. You pop this into the corner, try and get the pressure on. You've got Carl Davis, they're a few better from the rolling ball than him.
Yeah, definitely. And given the way, obviously, with the red card, the first halves went for Watsonians. They've clawed their way back into the game, but an opportunity to potentially score, like you say, driving Maul before they go into half time would be a real lift.
Well, in the game last week between the Ayrshire Bulls and Heriots, it finished 26 apiece. This one theoretically could finish 26 apiece at half time. 7 tries so far. 154 tries now. And the sprint. Beresford takes. There is Carl Davis. That's 1 stoppage. Davis has to give it out to Scott. On the inside, King gets some support from Lewis Berg. We're going to try and keep it tight. No way through for Cecil and Ball. Scott again comes out. Berg. Good defending. Smeaton trying to hold him up with a tackle call. Smeaton was told to get his hands off the ball. There's the little hinge coming in from Ball. Great pressure coming up. Here's Seb Cecil. Archie Smeaton is going into the referee's bad books. Scott gets it out. Davis trying to drive. Scott again. Baggett sends it back. Guthrie runs into Clemmell. They're 5 short. Scott. Side again to Cecil once more. Good defence was work from the Bulls. Looked a little high as Cecil came through. Presents it back again round the corner once more. They're still short. But the advantage play is now on. Now they can wing it. Guthrie. Brown. Brown will go in the corner himself. The try is given. Jack Brown scores. That's his first try, marking his first start for Watsonians. What a remarkable opening 40 minutes we've had here at Millbrae. 40-man Watsonians fighting their way back, down by 2, conversion to come.
Yeah, we're potentially all set for 26 all at half-time. It was hard earned by Watsonians. You know, it was resolute defence by Bulls across this far side, and you just felt they had real numbers on their feet. But Watsonians resourced ball well at ruck time. And then Jack Brown, what a good finish. It was skills of the pass in there, Louis Berg, and then there was another pass in there that went to Jack Brown, and he manages to get over, but really well earned score that takes it in half time. If we can get this over 26 apiece.
This will be the last action of the half. Well, getting ready, Jason Baggett. This is psychological as well as getting points on the scoreboard. 26-14 down. Can they tie it up? Baggett gets the kick away. They're looking, but it just goes right across the face of the posts. A fairly quiet evening in Millbrae between the Ayrshire Bulls and Watsonians. 8 tries, 50 points, 1 red card, and a well-earned rest at the interval for both of these sides. Well, Watsonians, having gone down to 14 players after 10 minutes, have fought back brilliantly against the Bulls side who tried to put Watsonians to bed. But it has been absolutely terrific stuff. Half-time, Ayrshire Bulls lead Watsonians by 26 points to 24.
Paddle. Oh, you see what I'm saying here, Paul?
Oh, what a terrific opening 40 minutes it's been between the Ayrshire Bulls and Watsonians in the FOSROC Super Series sprint here at Millbrae. It is essentially a semi-final. The winner will look to host the FOSROC Super Series sprint final next Friday evening. Be between teams who finish 1 and 2. At the moment, it's the Ayrshire Bulls. Watsonians, well, as it stands, have got a losing bonus point and a try bonus point. Let's have a look at the tries. It all started just 3 minutes gone, and it was Ben Riley who got it all started. It was a good take, lovely touch by Watsonians, and good pressure. But while they were trying to guard against Carl Davis, they just left the blind side open.
Yeah, and Murray Scott's got his eye on that. As that maul gets further and further infield, they have to take that short side. Grant Stewart's calling for defenders, but it's a 2-on-1 and there's not a lot he can do, but it's sharp thinking from Murray Scott. You'll see him have a look here, he can sense that space is there, and we said in commentary he probably could have went on his own, but he puts the youngster Ben Riley in for a good score early on. It seems like a long time ago.
It does. I guess the angle for Ben Riley allowed him to come slightly further round to make the conversion easier for Jason Baggett. And it was just such good work, but that's good scrum half play, and Grant Stewart had no chance being left on his own there.
Good play by Ben Riley, just holding his width as well. It's sometimes tempting to come in behind that maul as a winger, but when he's holding that width, Murray Scott can find him easily.
Well, just 3 minutes after this, again, nicely taken at the line out. Grant Stewart at the back, and Grant Beard was alert to this one. There was the pass inside, great dummy run, Clemmel, and he got the ball off to Ewell. I thought it was a terrific run by Bobby Beattie. It just opened up that little bit of space.
That's one stop.
Yeah, a wee bit of deception in behind, and because Fraser Climo's just kind of crabbing across the field there, the change in angle from Yule, he's always coming straight, and he hits such a good line. The defence starts to watch Climo, and then it just takes the eye off young Kerr Yule, who's had a great first half. He's a big lad for 17, and he's got a promising future ahead of him, and he managed to get 5 points for his team on that occasion.
It was his first try for the Ayrshire Bulls. And then here was more good work, and that's what you see, just that work from the centre on that line. And I'll tell you what, you did enjoy that, there was no doubt about it. So 2 good opening tries, but then came the moment of madness. Ayrshire Bulls had kicked out through Climo, they kicked out on the full. You watch this, this is the kick, it gets it away on the full, but just to the left we could just start to see that there was a little stramash as players started to come together. Now it looked like it had ended, and then for some reason Bobby Bratton got himself back involved. So you can see plenty of players getting involved there, the referee coming across. You just got to look at Lewis Ball and Rice. Sweeney were standing, you know, with their arms around each other. Cal Davis thought he'd done the job. Andrew Nibble continued just to nibble away, and the head coming out. You don't have to make great contact. You could see the smiles there of Sweeney and Ball, but it was a bit more serious elsewhere.
It just looked like it was calming down, wasn't it? And you know, it leaves the ref with no choice to give a red card there.
Yeah, you could see it, and you could tell the Watsonians players, they knew immediately that the red card was coming.
Yeah, you can see Louis Ball head and hands, and it's really put his team under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think the referee wouldn't have seen that. There was a headbutt there as well, Grant Stewart, but it was Bobby Bratton as well. The referee, obviously you're watching the ball, the assistants are trying to watch on as well. That's Michael Todd and Alistair Watt. Johnny Brown was there, and well, he had no choice but to give the red card. It was daft, it was plainly daft. And I tell you what, having to play 70 minutes against the Bulls with 14 isn't easy. But more tries were to follow, and despite going down to 14, Cal Davis got himself on the scoreboard with a different type of try for him. Baggett played beautiful little ball through, but this really should have been defended better. It was poor judgment in the end by Jamie Shedden. Still a lot of work to be done. Murray Scott, out it goes, but how about that for throwing a dummy? Cal Davis throwing his weight and getting himself over the line, but it was a mistake.
Yeah, it was, but the pressure applied. Lewis Berg does really well here, just to Jamie Shedden's probably thinking he can get away, get off that right foot and then get his kick away, but great pressure by Lewis Berg, and then Murray Scott shifts it well, and Cal Davis proves that he's not only dangerous off the back of the maul. In the lead up to this try, I mentioned it in commentary, but Jason Baggett had a few key touches. He kept the ball in down here on the far side, and then he had a couple of intelligent kicks, that being the second one, which really just applied pressure to the Bulls, and Watsonians were allowed to capitalise, even though they just had a man sent off the park.
Yeah, it was good work too by Campbell Wilson, who got the little pass back as well. I guess when you're 6'6" and you're young and gallus, you think you can get these things away, but it wasn't to be. And there was Wilson onto Scott, and there the thrown dummy, and Blair McPherson couldn't stop him. But the problem was that they couldn't hold on to a lead. Climo taking it down, moving away from Guthrie, just getting himself set up. And look at the line. Archie Smeaton is now on. There's the little run by Smeaton. Scott tried to close him down, but you could tell that they were stretched out to that left-hand side. Cavan was involved, Yule was involved, and then it was off to the races. A little pass inside, Jimmy Shedden onto Bobby Beattie for the score.
Yeah, Jamie Shedden immediately making up for his charge down in the score before, and it's good quick hands by Bobby Beattie. Kerr Yule's under pressure, but he rides the tackle, he gets a one-handy offload, and then Jamie Shedden, he's still got about 3 men to beat. His initial fend just buys him a bit of time. We'll see it here. Kerr Yule gets it away, Jamie Shedden the initial fend, and then the real just acceleration in a short space of time. And Bobby Beattie, all the experience, just runs that nice inside support line and manages to get it down. Bobby Beattie's had a good few touches in this half as well and really deserved this score.
He's had a terrific game so far. What a partnership Yule and Beattie are coming together with. And there was always such a joy in scoring. Well, so many tries, we don't have time to show them all at half-time, but they're certainly the pick of some of those. Grant Stewart scored after 22. Jamie Shedden scored after 26. It was 26 points to 14. Jason Baggett, though, with an interception try, going from almost the halfway line on the half hour. And then Jack Brown, just with a minute to play, the conversion was missed by Jason Baggett. And 50 points in a half that has been highly entertaining. And I can tell you for nothing, I'm going to need more of a scorecard than I've got on the sheet in front of me. Almost a whole match used in the opening 40. Underway. Second 40 between two of these really top teams. Nicely taken out. Lost just 5 of 34 FOSROC super matches so far this season. And a couple of things here. I mean, in terms of, you know, since the restart in 2021, Ayrshire Bulls only lost at home to Watsonians. No other teams managed to win here. And all 3 victories, Lee, have been within 6 points for Watsonians. It's all been, you know, essentially one-score games. So it's always been tight between these two.
Yeah, it's always tight, and I said it in the lead-up, but the two probably standout teams across, you know, the few years of this Super Series, and the games are always tight, and Bulls strong at home as well. So it's going to be interesting how the rest of this one pans out.
Well, conventional wisdom would suggest that playing with 14 for so long will be their undoing. As Beattie, Climo gets it across. Bardelli, oh, there's a little gap opened up. Gets it across. Shedden was held on by Ben Riley. They'll come back again. Grant Stewart using all his experience. Archie Smeaton was on the books of Glasgow Warriors coming in behind. Lovely little pass inside that comes onto Calvin Henderson. This is going to be hard for Watsonians to stop. Climo might try and go for himself. Oh, he's lost it. The ball went backwards and Watsonians gathered. Neil Irvin Hess. He's almost omnipresent, Neil Irvin Hess. What a good drive from ball. An entertaining night of rugby at Millbrae. Lots still to come. And Jason Baggett, safety first. Ayrshire Bulls in first place, 18 points, same as Watsonians. They do have the points advantage though. And we're plus 41 compared to Watsonians plus 28. Stewart with a throw, Smeaton with a take. Ball called, ball immediately back to Grant Stewart.
Sideways one.
It's gone sideways, so Grant Baird will want that. Baird, Beattie, just goes in behind and chasing Baggett's there. Baggett's still there and he's going to go for the long kick. There's nobody home. Oh, Baggett, the lung-bursting run to try and get there. That's good covering by Baird. Well, suspicion of a high tackle. It's gone into the back rather than the head. Good communication from the referee, just indicating it's outside. Ball was told to get off the ball. Grant Baird on the inside. There's a shout for a knock-on as Ben Riley made the tackle. Got one coaching staff to our left, one coaching staff to our right. Lee Jones and I are caught in the middle. Long kick. Getting under it is Angus Guthrie. Guthrie does well. Bardelli tries to chase him down. It's with Brown. Climo is there. Coming over was Calvin Henderson. Almost secured the ball. Cal Davis. Bonnie Scott waits for it. Back on to Beresford. The ball was available. Murray Scott. Ball to his left, but I think he'll go for the kick. Ben Riley on the chase. Beattie got in his way, and then he was pushed out the way. I tell you what, from the referee's angle, I understand that. From our angle, and he was clever about it, Bobby Beattie, to me, stepped in front.
Yeah, it's always a contentious subject. Teams generally know what you're doing there, but you know, you're trying to shield that player going back. You obviously can't turn and look at him, but you're trying to shield him getting back to protect your player jumping to catch the ball. You know, often these little pushes go unnoticed, but I think it was so dramatic there that the referee picked up on it. But this game is just so hard to call at the moment. For all money, Fraser Climo was in at the far end for a score, and then it was turned over. Jason Baggett's just hauled his team back into the game, and he does it again with the interception. And yeah, it's just so hard to call at the moment. There's a turnover at the line out as well.
Murray Scott gets it back quickly. Great play. Angus Guthrie. Smeaton grabs him, so too does Ed Bloodworth. Went backwards. Jason Baggett past his man. Great play. McNamara tried to get him. It's Cal Davis. A little bit isolated. Scott. Baggett dropped it. Scott King will leave that. Ben Riley picks up. Oh, there's no shortage of players wanting the ball here. Harrison Courtney. Well, he's knocked that forward. Advantage over as the kick is away from Grant Baird. There was nobody home. Jack Brown has to chase back for that, 17-year-old. Not really too much he could do.
He had a lot of space to cover there. This second half's really living up to the first. There's been a few turnovers, but both teams just with real enterprise to play, trying to generate quick ball. Jack Brown has a lot of space to cover there, as we said, and I think he's decided to try and put that off to give his teammates a bit of a rest.
Adult will be split. What a sport this is when both teams actually come with that attitude to play, to pass. They're not just throwing the ball about willy-nilly. There's a structure, there's a plan. It's terrific. Jamie Beresford takes.
7, don't change those arms.
Watsonians sending the replacements out to warm up. Murray Scott placed it in. Baggett went for the little chip. That was meant for Berg. Berg breaking through the middle. He's got absolutely no support. Dumped down by Shedden. Scott did well. It's on to Baggett. Tries to get past Beattie. Beattie with the counter ruck, but again it's Watsonians' ball. Well, literally, because ball has the ball. And it's sent back again. Beresford. Almost unbelievably, we've got 7.5 minutes of the second half without any points. The advantage will come and the penalty will come. Offside. And then, in fact, the high tackle.
Done most things you can to be like swift.
There was Baggett. Gets it inside onto Scott King, but Smeaton just a little bit too high. And I guess you go for the points.
Yeah, definitely. Watsonians again, just Jason Baggett, a moment of magic, and you could see it was a pre-planned move between him and Lewis Berg, and Lewis Berg gets onto the ball really well, takes it on the full, and you just wish there was a bit of support there on the outside. Lewis Berg was looking for it. If there'd been someone screaming up on that outside, you know, Watsonians could have potentially finished that one, but they get a penalty for their efforts, and you back Jason Baggett. The form he's in at the moment to put this one over and make the game even closer.
Well, you can see the huffing and puffing of these teams both exceptionally fit. Both going at 100%. Here's Jason back. Well, that was unexpected.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah, I learned a few years ago not to write down the score before the ball was through the posts. I can't remember, it was Edinburgh against Wasps at the Ricoh Stadium. I'm trying to remember the Edinburgh standoff with a kick in front of the post and missed it by slipping. And Duncan Weir was alongside me on that occasion. He laughed as I had to redo my scorebook. Never take anything for granted, but that is a miss for Watsonians. Just psychologically could have got themselves ahead. Scott. There was no look pass from Matt Wilson there. Baggett. Plenty of support, Seb Cecil. Baggett again, throws the little pass out wide. Picked up well by Guthrie. Back inside onto Davis. Played back. King. Baggett again, he got closed down very quickly by Stewart, got that away quite well in the end. Under severe pressure. Watsonians are thinking about using their bench, but they're either going to make a couple of changes, but they're playing well, but you are going to run out of steam.
Yeah, and you can see them, they're starting to gain a bit of shape. You can see the guys know where they're folding around the corner, they're playing the same way, but Bulls really smart there, they're picking and choosing their breakdowns. Certain breakdowns they're attacking really hard if they've got an opportunity, which can slow the ball down, but that last breakdown, just filling the field, leaving the ruck, and that means you've got more men on their feet to really pressure ball, and Jason Baggett didn't have a lot of time to get that kick away. It's a wee bit rushed. He probably wanted it to stay in field, but it ends up going into touch, and it's back in the Bulls' hands.
A couple of changes being made, and Roderick Evans makes his debut for the Bulls, the Welshman. Smeaton trying to hold on. So Ryan Sweeney and Fraser Claymore off. This is a great rumble up. Was it taken down illegally? Yes, it was. And if I'm the referee, yep, taken down, and the penalty comes. So Blair Jordan and Brad Roderick Evans on. Safety first kick, Brad Roderick Evans. And the Welshman played University Rugby in Wales, as one of the top point scorers. And he's an interesting pickup.
Yeah, and his debut tonight for the Bulls, it'd be interesting to see how he controls proceedings in that standoff position.
Again, good work by the Bulls, setting themselves up well. Grant Stewart at the back. Again, it's terrific work by Lewis McNamara. Matt Wilson was ejected there. Beattie onto McPherson. It comes out wide. Cavan. Cavan's got a man on his shoulder. It was a good tackle in the end by Ben Riley. Blair Jordan, there's 20. Watsonians just calling on to watch out for the switch on the inside. Calvin Henderson, the ball is there to be played. It's eventually played by Grant Baird. Beattie tried to kick it through, but the penalty will come. Not moving away correctly. And it was Neil Irvin Hess who was penalised.
You can see what he's trying to do there, Neil Irvin Hess, just slow that ball down a wee bit longer, but right in front of the eyes of the referee. And rightly so, a penalty. It was a good line-out play, line-out ploy by Bulls at two-phase this time. It was a familiar shape with Bobby Beattie at first receiver, but then the quick second phase allowed Eli Caven to get on the outside of his man on that far side, which then just stretches that Watsonians defence a wee bit and gets Bulls a bit of territory and a bit of possession.
Didn't use Lewis McNamara that time. Ed Bloodworth. Well, Grant Stewart trying to go there, but being ejected again was ball. There's the same maul. They're still going. Spot the ball. That's what the referee's got to do. It is wrapped up in the body of Grant Stewart. And the first points of the second half come with 40 minutes played in the second half. And Grant Stewart and co secure the points for the Ayrshire Bulls.
It started off with a penalty down towards this 22 in Ayrshire Bulls. They just worked their way up the field. They got themselves into a position where they can get this driving maul going, and I think we can probably count 7, 8, maybe 9 players there against Louis Ball. The sole Watsonian just trying to stop that. Angus Guthrie's coming in to try and help. Murray Scott's in to try and help, but the maul just splinters away, and Grant Stewart earns another one.
So Caven prepares the conversion. Changes coming for Watsonians in a moment. We'll bring on Harry Patterson and Finlay Thompson. Yes. All right, Caven pops that through. So Jamie Beresford being called to come off Ben Riley, and Murray Scott, Kieran Watt, Harry Patterson, and Finlay Thompson. So Hector Patterson is now on scrum half.
Good trap.
It's just a small thing, Lee, but if that penalty from, Jason Baggett had gone over, it would have just kept it to, under a converted try. The fact that he missed it's just starting to get away from it.
Yeah, you get the sense that Watsonians almost had to get something out of that phase because they'd attacked really well. They got the opportunity of taking the penalty, and missing that's just kind of left them hanging a little bit.
A few things he hasn't done right tonight. Now breaking through, Finlay Thompson. Played in from King. There it comes across, dropping the shoulder. Ball once more. Penalty advantage coming the way of Watsonians. And they will get the penalty. And again, here's the difference. If you can kick to the corner here, it would have been nice to have that 6-point gap, but I don't think they've got much choice but to try and put the pressure on.
No, definitely, and they'll probably look to get the driving maul going here. They've brought a couple of guys off the bench in the hope that lift the energy a wee bit, maybe try and change the dynamic of the game. Hector Patterson came on early for Murdo McAndrew last week against Boroughmuir and controlled the game really well, so it'll be interesting to see what he can bring alongside Finlay Thompson, who's had a good first carry.
Kieran Watt takes well. Hector Patterson wears 21, the ball is at the back. Davis, same maul, says the referee. Now Patterson moves it across onto Baggett. Baggett stepping in off the wing is Guthrie. Patterson. Ball tries to work through. It was Blair Jardine. 20 was in the contact. Neil Irvin Hess, former Southern Knights player. It comes through to Baggett. Baggett tries to let it go, but it's intercepted. And now here comes the chance. Looking inside, Caven gets it in from Baird. Caven trying to run through. Nobody is going to stop Eli Caven. And this could be the crucial score, just under the hour to play. It's a 20th try in 29 matches for Eli Cavan, and Watsonians are done on the break.
Watsonians for all money. I thought they were really building a score across that far side, and do you know, it's a low percentage play. You know, I was assuming there was some penalty advantage there, you know, when Jason Baggett put boot to ball, but do you know, it's well covered, getting a foot in the way, and you're not going to stop Eli Cavan. He's stretched his legs there. He's managed to step inside the last defender, and it's a good finish. But that really changes the momentum of things, as we've witnessed the last 5 to 10 minutes of this game.
And the conversion is good, and the gap, now you suspect, is just too much for Watsonians. Well, you were never really in doubt that Cavan was going to finish this. He is electric.
Yeah, and in terms of cover, you've got no one back. Watsonians are all out attack. You eventually, you get Angus Guthrie coming over, but he's coming from short side wing on this far side, so he's an easier man to beat, you know, when he's covering across at that angle, and Eli Cavan finishes that, as he often does, relatively easily.
Again, Leedy, I think he might have overcooked that one. Takes a lovely little bounce on the inside. Daly was almost in there. Baggett under pressure, gives that away to Beattie, but he just stepped into touch and no more. Well, it's one of these ones that if you're Jason Baggett, you just want that ball to go out so you can return down and get the line out, but he had to play it. Played it well under pressure.
Yeah, he's had some great touches tonight. He's a smart player, and you know, that's a pressure situation, but he remained cool, and he manages to earn his team the line out and back with possession.
Changes being made. Stewart, 2 tries tonight. His job is done. Alex Maguire off the bench for him. Well taken by Seb Cecil. Here's Baggett. Well, there's no way through. He brings the ball but cleared the bench. Chris Elliott remains unused. Baggett, oh, that's going to be intercepted. William Farquhar lays the ball off onto Lewis McNamara. Well, it's all going wrong for Watsonians. It's all going right for the Ayrshire Bulls, and Lewis McNamara makes his way over the line. Big smiles, and now the Bulls will believe that they will be in the FOSROC Super Series Sprint Final next week.
Yeah, Liam McNamara's happy with that one, isn't he? It's Watsonians are in a situation where they have to try and pull everything out, and that potentially means that, you know, these little kicks in behind have to work out. And William Farquhar, I think he charged down the last kick as well for that last score, so he's had a hand in 2 scores there. I think he can claim a couple of assists from Jason Baggett, but yeah, in the last 10 minutes I'm looking at the score now, and we just see that gap widening, and the Bulls just riding on ahead at the moment.
Well, this is their 10th meeting. The Bulls have won 2, Watsonians have won 7. 4th meeting of this season. Watsonians had won 2, Ayrshire Bulls had won 1. Well, all 5 meetings at Millbrae have all been decided by 7 points or less. Previous to tonight, those sides had gone over 30 points at Millbrae. Well, Ayrshire Bulls have done so, and they have done so emphatically. 7 tries en route to a 47-24 scoreline. little bit of a step from Ben Ayrshire, gets it in. On to Beattie. Beattie lays it off. Neil Van Hess. Lifted up high. Well, the bad news for Watsonians, Lee, is there's not a single Bulls player that doesn't want to keep playing at this high tempo game.
Yeah, you can see the energy in it. It started there with Ben Ayrshire just off the kick-off there. He's generated some real momentum for his team, and everybody wants the ball now. They're on the front foot, and Watsonians are at 6s and 7s trying to mark space.
And it came from Ben Ayrshire. There goes again, the young scrum half. Gets on to Brad Roderick Evans. Will come back on their side. As the ball was knocked on, a little bit of respite for Watsonians. John Lewis can still manage a smile there with Bobby Beattie. So 64 minutes played, and when you think just at half-time, 48 minutes, Jason Baggett had the chance to put Watsonians ahead. I tell you what, since then, the Ayrshire Bulls have been ruthless. The Grant Stewart try, the Eli Kevin try, and the Liam McNamara try, just accelerated away.
You felt that for Watsonians to be in with a chance as this game progressed, that I mentioned it before, but everything had to go right. You know, and just that turning of the tide with the 2 charge down kicks has almost killed the game off, and just taken that score well beyond reach for Watsonians. You know, had those come out the other way, had Watsonians scored before that first charge down try, different game. If they took the penalty over, potentially different game, but everything was going to have to go right. And the Bulls, they're a quality side, and you did have a feeling eventually that was going to tell. The red card was going to tell. You know, they're an experienced team, they've got a big pack, and I think from their point of view, they've probably not held on to the ball that well tonight. Had they held on to the ball a bit better in certain areas, they could have potentially made the game a wee bit easier, given that Watsonians were a man down. So I think that could potentially be something as Bulls will probably go on to this final next week. We don't know who against yet, but they'll want to hold on to the ball a bit better. And you could hear the coaches earlier on just, you know, screaming, hold on to the ball. They know if they hold on to the ball, they can put teams under pressure, and I think that will be a real focus for them going into the final week of the sprint series.
The referee Mike came loose there. Some running repairs. Well, tomorrow, Stirling Wolves and Heriots go head to head. Currently in 3rd and 4th place. Will effectively be the second semi-final. Chance to play for the FOSROC Super Series sprint title next Friday evening.
Right. Bind. Set.
Hector Patterson. They put in the scrum is under severe pressure. Neil Van Hess did so well to get that out. Baggett steps on the inside. Finlay Thompson. That was high from Blair McPherson. A little tap on the shoulder. Oh, an apology. Blue ball, none the worse for wear. A good kick from Jason Baggett. We're nice and close to the action, Lee, and you can see the Watsonians bench. They've never stopped encouraging their side. A little bit of a juggle, but it does come down. Davis. Harrison says, I'll have that. Oh, that's gone into no man's land. Dropped by Brown. It's just a little enforced error. You're trying to make something happen. You can fully understand it, but Patterson's pass just dropped in between 2 any players.
Yeah, just a wee bit of pressure on that maul. Oh, look, he had a bit of time, you know. It's just one of those ones where The ball just sticks in your hand a wee bit too long, and the setup that Watsonians had, there's potentially 4 players there. There's one guy that's supposed to get the ball, but it ends up being right in the middle of 4 guys, which then forces a knock on, so it's unfortunate.
Bind. Set.
Penalty advantage coming the way of the Bulls. The scrum has stood up. Ayrshire gets it across, Cavan into the line, launches it long. Shedden is there. It does take some stopping. Ayrshire. Smeaton. Well, apologies if you got some of that industrial language coming over the airways. The encouragement to stay in the ruck. Beattie drops the shoulder. That just goes behind Alex Maguire. Now you can see Watsonians are weary. Bloodworth tries to drive through. Smeaton gets the touch, got that away very quickly. Blair McPherson gets it out wide. Yule did well. Shedden on that far side. Ayrshire. 5 metres short, looking for try number 8. Down the narrow side they go. Alex Maguire quite fancies that. Just a little bit short. There's the linking play. Can McPherson get over? He's held up. And that'll be the dropout on the goal line. Word for the referee, he's been in good position. That's what you want for the referee there, just checking for that grounding. Did well.
Yeah, good position, I think, all night. He's communicated, you can hear him on the ref mic, communicating to the players really well, and that's all you want as a player, is to kind of know where you stand. He's almost trying to help the players on occasion, stay out of there, which is very kind of him. But it allows the game to flow. You know, he's not having to penalise every rack, or you know, it's good communication by Johnny.
Yeah, a couple of times he's said, look, you know, that's not affected play. Therefore I'm playing on. And you know, I like that in a referee. It just shows you're willing to let the game go. Miller Van Hess is withdrawn. As that kick just a little bit too long. Roderick Evans. And they come back for the line out. Chris Elliott's waiting to come on.
15.
Like Evans' night is done. He's done well with a boot. Got himself on the list of the try scorers as well. Cal Davis sends it long. Kieran Watt did really well. That looked high.
Tackle, eh? To tackle.
Patterson. Through Seb Cecil. Patterson again. Wanted to see if there was a gap. Tried to lob that over the head. And Roderick Evans. Go back and gathers. He did guddle it, but it went backwards.
Come on, keep coming. Keep coming. Thank you.
And it's a decent enough clearing kick.
Fantastic kick by Hector Patterson there. He looked up. I think he almost doubted himself with the pass, looked for the gap, but then managed to get it to his foot relatively quickly. And the fact that it stayed in field just meant that Ayrshire had to clear really quickly. It gives Watsonians the line out.
Kieran Watt's the usual target. McNamara disrupted, comes back into the arms of Maguire.
Use it.
Under 10 minutes to play. And the Ayrshire Bulls will be finding themselves in the final. As that wasn't held.
Oh, against blue, sorry.
The referee gave the penalty the wrong way for the crossing. And it will go the way of Ayrshire Bulls obstruction on that occasion by Seb Sessa.
It's a brilliant box kick by Ben Afshar there, just the timing on the ball to allow his chasing winger to get underneath it. Applies so much pressure to Watsonians, and it makes a guddle when it's coming down, and they then earn the penalty as well. So it just shows you the difference it makes when you can put those box kicks right on the money. And it's a tough squirrel, you don't often see it you know, right where it needs to be, but great kick by Ben Afshar.
Angus Guthrie couldn't hold on. Craig Davison comes on. Harrison Courtney will be withdrawn. Archie Smeaton takes, the ball is called. There's the little splinter. Maguire tries to get the pass. Here's Archie Smeaton. Archie Smeaton has gone over in the corner. Well, the FOSROC Super Series sprint matches normally average 8 tries a game. It's 8 tries tonight for the Ayrshire Bulls, who have pulled away from Watsonians in this second half.
It's smooth work at the line. Archie Smeaton is the guy who takes that ball, and he ends up on the end of the try. Alex Maguire just breaks down that short side. He senses a gap, but he manages to get out the back door as well. And Archie Smeaton, good support play on the edge and a good finish, but it's that offload. Scott King it's hard for him to see it coming as a defender, and Archie Smeaton's already on that outside arc, and he manages to finish well, but it's made by Alex Maguire. A good bit of skill down the short side. It's another hooker off the back of a driving maul.
First try for the Ayrshire Bulls, for the SRU Academy player attached to Glasgow Warriors, Archie Smeaton. And the first attempt at points in his Ayrshire Bulls career for Brad Roderick Evans. Just land short. I think it'd be too easy, Lee, to blame Watsonians' defeat tonight, and it is a defeat solely on the red card. I think that would be shortchanging the way that Ayrshire Bulls have played. I think it would also be shortchanging the way that Watsonians have tried to play with 14 players.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the score now at 52-24, and you probably it doesn't reflect what's going on in that probably first 55 minutes of the game, you know, from a Watsonians point of view, because they've really stuck into this. They've clawed their way back in when their backs were against the wall, you know, and they're still going, you know, as you mentioned, the bench are cheering them on, and you know, they're still being really positive about the game.
Roy McPherson looked high by Mac Wilson.
No, Cal.
Cal Davis has gone in from the side. It's called preventative referee.
Use it.
Ben Afshar, that's a really good kick. Jason Baggett goes back inside onto Jack Brown. Brown drops the shoulder, tries to get past Ed Bloodworth. It's never easy. Kieran Watt moves on. Cal Davis onto Baggett. Baggett sends it wide. Guthrie. Alex Maguire did well there. Hector Patterson, little flick pass out onto Ball. Trying to find their way through. It was excellent from Craig Davidson. Outs into Baggett. Baggett to Brown, held up well by Bobby Beattie. It's a terrific game.
Tackle!
Patterson. Davis. Craig Davidson. Off the bench for the 4th time for Watsonians. Now Scott King. The pass onto Guthrie. Guthrie steps inside Chris Elliott. Oh, the turnover looked pretty good. And then it dropped. And BT will go through. And there's nobody at home. Going to try and find his way across the line. Berg will make the late challenge. But it's a terrific try again from the Ayrshire Bulls. Well, they're not noted Predators Bulls, but I tell you what, the Ayrshire version are. Give them half a chance, and boy did they take it.
Yeah, look, I think there's a bit of good fortune in this score, but the intent was there. Luca Bardelli with a great bit of footwork. And he's fortunate that as the ball's ripped, it goes backwards, and it gives Bobby Beattie almost what he makes look like a casual running into the corner. You mentioned it previously, Paul, he's had a great game and he deserves his score. There's a bit of good fortune there in that, and Hector Patterson can be slightly aggrieved. He did well to try and rip the ball, but unfortunately it's went backwards on the Bulls side and they've managed to finish it off.
Second try of the evening for Bobby Beattie. No tries and 8 coming into this one tonight, but he's righted that wrong on the scoreboard. Brad Roderick Evans still seeking his first points. Kick from this side is a decent one. It's 59-24. So the man of the match, well, Grant Stewart gets the nod tonight, Lee. A couple of tries, he was at the heart of so much, and he'll be an important player in the final next week.
Yeah, definitely. He got a couple of tries to his name. He's, do you know, that professional experience he's got, as I mentioned before, 48 caps with Glasgow Warriors. He just provides that ballast at set piece as well, you know, real noose there. Scrum and line out, the driving mauls went well, and he's benefited from that. But there's been a few standout performances, you know, on both sides of the ball tonight as well. Watsonians have also contributed. The man who just went in for a score, and Bobby Beattie, has had a great game both sides of the ball and some lovely touches. Jason Baggett, you know, really stand out for Watsonians, and much of what's been good about them.
Well, the Ayrshire Bulls came into this one with the best defence in the FOSROC Super Series sprint. Watsonians came in with the most points scored. They'll get the penalty here in what has been a terrific contest. Playing 70 minutes of the match for 10, it's just been too much.
Can't reward you if he's still there.
The long kick. I always think there's a psychological thing about somebody putting 60 points on you. 59 sounds bad enough, but there's something psychological about 60 in Watsonians. That hasn't happened to them in the FOSROC Super 6. They took the Wolves for 66 back in September.
Guys, time's still on, come on.
They're on the wrong end tonight. And inside the final minute, they just want to try and win this, manage it out, score if they can. They've not scored in the second half. Jason Baggett penalty missed.
Roll.
Good take by Cecil. And there is the drop. The advantage will come. He was a little bit unlucky. Johnny Morris was trying to get his head up to go.
On to Jover. He's touched.
Ben Ayrshire. Hector Patterson going for the scenic route. Still trying to drive his way through. Brown was in at scrum half there. Finlay Thompson tried to drive his way on. 20-year-old Cecil.
It's ripped first. Leave it now, Archie, leave it now. It was ripped back. Play on, it was ripped.
The final moments of a really enthralling game. And Jack Brown, well, he may have been taken down, but if he'd thrown the pass, it was going to be intercepted. Ayr thought they turned it over. Patterson. There's the little short one.
Still in.
Patterson appears again. Ball.
No. Rock's there.
Final play of the match. Essentially a semi-final. That's through onto Berg. Berg batters his way into Roderick Evans. Played through by Baggett. Shedden pops it out of play, and that will bring the game to a close. Well, 50 points scored in the first half. The Bulls led by 26 to 24, but they've racked up the points in the second half, moving all the way to 59 without reply. 14 tries in the match, and it's the Ayrshire Bulls who will host either the Stirling Wolves or Heriots here for the FOSROC Super Series Sprint Final next Friday night. And Lee, it's hard to argue with the fact that Ayrshire Bulls have made their way there.
Yeah, they've probably, throughout this short sprint series, have looked probably the top team so far, but you know, Watsonians have rightly so earned their place at the top of the table. There was the red card tonight, but also I think Bulls at home is a tough proposition, you know, especially when you're fighting for that final playoff, and these two teams have history. They've been standout, and I'm sure they will continue to do so, you know, as we go into the championship season later on. But the Bulls were just, yeah, they were too strong tonight, and I also feel they weren't at their best. You know, I felt if they could hang on to the ball a bit better, they could have really posed some more threats. They've got threats across the back line, they've got a big pack, they defend really well, and credit to Watsonians, they stuck in the game, but I think it was too much of a mountain to climb after Bulls just sneaked ahead post the red card.
Their only away defeats this season, be it in the championship or the sprint, for Watsonians have come here at Millbrae. It's the sixth meeting of these sides at Millbrae in the FOSROC Super Series, and it's now 3 apiece between Ayrshire Bulls and Watsonians. No side had scored over 30 points at Millbrae in the Super Series, but that changed tonight. The Ayrshire Bulls rattling in 9 tries at the end of the day. Well, Watsonians' disappointment, they'll play in the 3rd, 4th match next week, but it's Ayrshire Bulls who got all the way to the final. Grant Stewart was our player of the match, and the full-time scoreline from Millbrae. A really entertaining night of rugby. The Ayrshire Bulls 59, Watsonians 24.